Assalamu alaikum, welcome to Crack Mathematics. So today lesson 4 we're going to cover uh, number comparison. So we're going to learn how to compare two numbers and how to order a set of number. So let's start the lesson. So before we start comparing numbers, so let's talk about the tools. So we're going to give you an introduction about the tools that we use to compare number, which are comparison signs. So we're going to talk about the comparison sign. So I will give you a brief introduction to comparison sign because we are going to see comparison sign in detail in the future lesson. So let's first give a definition of comparison sign. What is the comparison sign? Definition. So let me write down definition here. So comparison signs are symbols that are used to compare two quantities. Exactly what is comparison sign. So comparison sign are symbol that are used to compare two quantities. And there are three different comparison signs. So there are three comparison sign. So the first one is called equal sign. And it looks like we have two little bar one above the other, and it's read equal to. The second one, it's called less sign, and it's have an opening to the right, so it's read less than. And the third one, a greater sign. So this one is opening to the left, and it's read greater than. Greater than. We have optional sign. So, but we're not going to talk about them now. But I will let you know those optional signs. Sorry. So we have this sign, which is combination of those two, and we have that sign. Those are the two optional signs, which is combination of those two. So those are just optional signs. So when we talk about comparison sign in detail, we're gonna talk about those two. So let's give a brief definition of each one, and let's start with the equal sign. So what is equal sign? Equal sign is a symbol that compare to identical quantity. So this is just a brief description about equal sign. So equal sign is a symbol that compare to identical quantity. So the quantity must be identical in order for us to use equal sign. So for example, let me give you an example, then I will show you how to check if the two numbers are equal or not. So example, so 4 is equal to 4. So just a simple example. So how to check if two numbers are equal or not. So this is what we're going to do right now. So equality of two numbers. Of two numbers. So two numbers are equal if their corresponding place value digits are identical. So this is how to check if two numbers are equal or not. So two numbers are equal if their corresponding place value digits are identical. So if I want to check if those two numbers are equal, so what I need to do here, so for example here, if I have 453.12 and 120, so what I do here, I need to check the corresponding place value. What do I mean by the corresponding place value? So the identical place value, so the digits of the identical place value. So I'm looking for 100. I have 4 in 100 place here, so I'm going to check if I have 4 in 100 place here. Yes, they are equal. So then I check the 10th, they are equal. Then I will check next the ones, they are equal. So I keep checking. Here I will check next the 10th, they are equal. Then I will check the 100, they are equal. But here I have a 0, so we know that after any number in the digit in the fractional part, we can put as much 0 you want, or you can eliminate as much 0 you want, as long as there is no distinct 0 digits on their side. So this, it's either it's useless, or you can add a 0 here. It's the same thing. So my point here is, what did we find out? That the place value digits are identical, so the corresponding one are identical. So that means this those two numbers are equal. So the corresponding place value must be identical. The 100 in the first one must be the same as the 100 on the second one. The 10 on the first one must be the same as the 10 on the second one. The ones on the first one must be the same as the ones on the second one. The 10th must be the same as on the second one, and the 100 must be the same as second one. So then I can conclude that those two numbers are equal. So this is how we compare two number, or how to check if two numbers are equal or not. So you see, we just use place value here. Now let's talk about less and greater sign together, because they share the same definition. So less and greater sign. So less and greater sign are sign or symbol that compared to distinct quantity. So if the quantity are not identical, that means they are distinct, so we use those one of those two signs. So less and greater sign are symbols that compare distinct quantity. So if the quantity are not the same, so we use one of those to sign. We use the left we use the sign, so when the right quantity is bigger than the left one, so this is when we use the less sign. So less sign is used when the right quantity is bigger than the left one. So for example, so we have 3, 5, so I can say 3 is less than 5. So, and greater sign is used when the left quantity is bigger than the right one. So is used when the left quantity and the left quantity is bigger than the right one. Than the right one, sorry. So when the left one is bigger than the right one. So for example, I will use the same number. Let me pick different number, I don't confuse student. So here we have 7 is greater than 4. So this is how we use those two sign. Now we're going to learn how to compare two distinct number. It's the same concept we use for equal, and you can see it right now. And which we are going to do it in 2 steps. So first we're going to talk about how to compare positive number. So positive number, and the second steps we're going to talk about how to compare negative number. So to compare positive number, so what we do, we check the corresponding place value or the corresponding place value digit from left to right, and look for the first 2 distinct digits. So I compare from left to right, and I check the first 2 distinct digits. The first one I meet, they are distinct, so then I will conclude which one is bigger, which one is smaller, and I will decide which sign I will pick. So let me give you an example, then I will give you a brief description how to use it. So for example, so if I want to compare 3 and for example, so here I check, you see I start from left to right, so I start always from left to right, and I keep checking one by one. So I will check the corresponding place value digit. So I will check this digit with this one, so they are equal. So then I'll move on to the next one. So I will check this one with that one, the corresponding one. Always the same place value digit, the same place value, I'll check their digit. So the same place value, I check their digits. I check the 100 with the 100, the 10 with the 10, the 1 with the 1. If I have 1,000, I will check the 1,000 with the 1,000, and so on. And here I have, for example, here we have 1 to 1 are equal. So I have again, I keep moving and checking here, the 10 with the 10 are equal. And I keep moving again. I go to the 100th and the 100, and here I see that that 100 is greater than that one. So which means that number is greater. Then I will pick the greater sign. You see? Because this one is greater, I will pick the greater sign. So if you have if I, for example, for example, those two numbers, I want to compare those two numbers. I start with the corresponding place value. So this is 1,000, and I will look for the 1,000 here. There's no 1,000 here, that means I have a 0. If I have no 1,000, this means I have a 0. So which means that 2 is greater than 0. So I need to go further. So this is the two first distinct digits. So with the corresponding place value, that means that number is greater. So I don't need to go further. So this is the second example. So as you see, you get, I believe, the idea how to compare two distinct numbers. So let me give you a brief description in Word. So in that case, will stay in your note. So to compare two numbers, and here we're talking about positive number. So we check the corresponding place value digits. From left to right. Don't do it from right to left. It's not going to give you the right answer. From left to right. And look for the first two distinct. And look for the first two distinct digits. The greater the digit is, so the greater is the number. So that's the idea. So the greater. So here when you check that this one is greater than 1, that means that number is greater. So the greater is a digit, the greater the number is. So the greater the digit, greater is the number. And less the digit, the less is the number. The less digit, or the less is the digit. Here the greater is the digit, less is the digit. The less is the number. So the greater is the digit, the greater is the number. That means if the digit is greater, that means the number is greater. So here we check all of them, but we find out that number is greater, that digit is greater than that one. That means if this one is greater than that one, that means that number is greater, because the rest are all equal. So this one decide which number is greater. So this is a brief description how to compare two positive number. This is only for positive number. For negative number is different, so we'll see it soon. So I hope you got the idea here. So let's move on to the next part on this first section, is how to order positive number. To order number, we just going to use the comparing concept we just did now. So how to order number. So to order a number set, or to order a set of number, what we need to use the same concept. We just compare the corresponding place value digits of all the number, and we pick the one that we need based on the question they ask. Either we are going to order from least to greatest or from greatest to least. So based on the question, so we pick the right number based on the comparison concept we just did when we compare two number. So that's the same idea we use to order number. So let me write down this here. So to order a set of number, so we compare the corresponding place value digit of all the number. Of course, from left to right. And based on the question, so you pick the number that satisfy in the question. So let me give you an example, so in that case you will see the idea, because this is not clear with that statement. Okay, so let's so if I want to order from least to greatest, order from least to greatest. So suppose I have this set of number, I want to order from least to greatest. So I have 314.5, I have 309.2, I have 217 and 219.9, for example. I just pick 4. It can be 5, can be any set of number. So here, like I said, we are going to compare the corresponding place value of all the number from left to right. So I will compare the place value, the corresponding one. So I'm going to start with the 100. So I have 100 here, 100 here, 100 here, and 100 here. So this is 3, 3, 2, 2. See, they ask me from least to greatest, so I'm going to pick the smallest. So I have two smallest, because this is 3 and this is 3, this is 2, 2. 2 is smaller than 3, so I'm going to start with the 2. Then I'm going to move to the next. With those two, I'm going to move to the next digit. So I have 1, 1, they are equal. Here we have 7, this is 9, that means this is smallest, so this is going to be the first answer. So it's going to be 2, 1, 7. And because I have only 2, that means this one should be the second. So if I have a third one here, so I will check those two together, but I have only that one, so I will just write it down here. So I'm done with those two. Now I'm gonna go to those two here. So here we have 3. That means this one are equal, so I'm gonna move to the 10th. This is 1, this is 0. That means this one is smaller, this is bigger, so that means here is gonna be 309, and this is 314.5. So then this is the order from least to greatest. So as you see here, we just use the concept of comparing place value. So that's exactly what we did. So if I want to order this one from greatest to least, I do the same idea. So I start with the 100 place value, so I pick the greatest 100, then I compare them together, then I will pick from them the highest one, and I keep comparing till I'm done with my set. So this is how we order a set of numbers. We're going to move to the next steps, which is comparing negative number. So let me write here negative number. So but before we start comparing negative number, there's one thing I need you to keep in mind, that every negative number is always smaller than any positive number. So this should be clean in your mind. Every negative number is always smaller than any positive number. So let me give you an example. So minus 4,537 is less than 1. Minus 95,278 is smaller than 0.00001. You see, any negative number is smaller than the smallest positive number. So this, keep in mind, if you have negative and positive, always positive is the greater. Alright, so now let's compare two negative number. So how to compare negative number. So the idea is similar to how to compare positive number, most like similar. So we check the corresponding place value, but the difference is we need to switch the conclusion. So the greatest, the digit, the smallest is the number. So the greatest is the digit, the smallest is the number, and the smallest is the digit, the greatest is the number. So that's the only difference between the positive and the negative. So the way we do it for the positive is going to be the same way we're going to do it for the negative. The only difference is when we conclude. So the greatest is the digit, the smallest is the number, and the smallest is the digit, the greater is the number. So to compare two negative numbers, so we check the corresponding place value digit. from left to right. And look for the first distinct digit, and look for the first distinct digit. So when you find out the first distinct digit, you compare those distinct digits. So the greatest, or the greater is the digit, the smallest is the number. So the greater is the digit, the smaller is the number. And smaller is the digit, the greater is the number. The smaller is the digit, the greater, or the greatest is the number. So let me give you an example. Suppose I want to compare those two negative number. So like I said, we're gonna compare place value. So we are going to compare the 100 with the 100. They are the same. So the 10 with the 10, they are the same. So now I'm gonna move to the ones. The ones, they are the same. So I'm gonna move to the 10th. We have 1 here, this is 4. 1 is smaller than 4. This means that number is bigger. So the smallest is the digit, the bigger is the number, or the greater is the number. So let me give another example. So I have minus 5, 7, 4, minus 50, 0, 1. So again, I will compare the corresponding place value digits. So I will compare this with this. They are the same. 5 and 5 are equal. 7 and 0, 0 is smaller than 7. So that means this is bigger number. So this will be my answer. Then I learned how to order negative numbers. So how to order negative numbers. So again, we can use the concept of comparison, comparing numbers. It's the same concept. We just need to compare the corresponding place value of all the number, and we pick the right number based on the question. So it's the same idea. So to order set of numbers, so we compare the corresponding place value digits. Of all the number from left to right. And from there we pick the right number based on the question. So let me give you an example so at least you see the idea. So suppose I want to pick minus 2, 5, 3, minus 1, 5, 0, minus 2, 7, 1, 3. So here I will, okay, so let me put the direction order from least to greater. So order from least to greatest. So I want to order this set from least to greatest. So like I said, we're gonna compare the corresponding place value. So remember in the comparison, so the greater is the digit, the smaller is the number. So here we have compare from least to greatest. I need to look for the higher place value. So here I'm gonna start with the 100. So this is 2, this is 1, this is 2. I have no 100 here, that means I have 0. So that means I'm gonna pick the highest place value. So those two are the highest. I'm gonna compare those two together. So we have 2 and 2 are equal. So I'm gonna move to the 10th. So we have 5 and 7. 7 is greater, that means this will be my smallest number. So I'm gonna put this one first. So minus 2, 7, 1. And we have only these two because 2 and 1 is 2 is bigger than 1. That means this one is smaller than that one. So it's gonna be minus 2, 5, 3. And I'm gonna move now to this and this. 0 is smaller than 1. That means this is smaller than this value, so it's going to be minus 150, and this one is my last number, so it will be my greater number. And this is how to order negative number. I hope you understand what we covered today. So please, if you have any comment about the lesson or anything that will help me improve my way of teaching or presenting, so please do so. It will help me a lot. And before I finish, I will provide you with the console, so that you can download for free and practice what we did in the lesson today. And again, thank you very much for watching the video, and Assalamu alaikum.